some kind.
I call this meeting of the Perryton Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. If you'll bow with me for a word of prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for letting us be here tonight. We hope that you bless this new board as we change out members, and we hope that you guide us in making wise decisions in the best interest of Perryton ISD. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Darren, I didn't double check with you. Are we good?
We're good.
Okay.
I thought about that one.
Okay, do we have anybody for open forum? Okay. Then with that, we will move on to reorganization of the board, recognition of outgoing board members. Got a couple of guys tonight that it's been my honor to serve with. For Mike for 6 years, Lloyd for 3.5, and I guarantee you they haven't always voted the same as me on every issue. But what I could always count on is I knew that both those guys were voting from the heart. They always voted for what they felt was best for the school district, and you can't ask any more than that of a board member. I'm going to miss both you guys, and it was a privilege to serve with you all. And
See you in the next one.
we have plaques. These are real nice plaques, guys.
Oh, watch out, your little,
I need you to,
they're actually removable, so you can, yeah.
you can hammer.
Where are you taking the picture? You want to take it in front of this Perryton ISD?
Mike, didn't you serve for 9 years? 6. Oh, just 6? Okay. Okay.
6 long years.
Darren,
I
you
guess I served
can,
for 5.5 years. I was thinking you were on a term before
Yeah, I'm
I
not
came
taking a
on.
picture.
why don't y'all get over here and shake hands and we can get a picture of this.
Not the space.
Lloyd may want a picture of the steak.
Yeah.
Just need the steak.
Took him 3 years to find
My
something.
chair on the way?
1, 2, 3. I was gonna say smile.
Yeah, I'm smiling.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm smiling. You did
I'll
that.
steal if you want.
1, 2, 3.
I promise I'm smiling now.
Yeah.
Guys, good luck
Thank
to
you.
y'all. Thank y'all so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Like I said, it was just a great privilege to serve with both of you.
Kind of awkward, but
Appreciate it.
Y'all enjoy those steaks because they didn't bring you a chicken fry tonight. I'm going to fire up the grill right now.
Good luck, man.
See you, man. Good job.
Michelle, the
Thank
mayor.
you.
There we go.
thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Good, good 5 months.
All right.
Who's gonna bring you steaks, Mom?
Yeah.
Well, I know where they sell them.
All right.
I'll even slice them for you, and I want mine too.
Yeah.
So, all right. On to newly elected board members, and I believe that Mr. Morales will be swearing in the new board members.
Yep. Okay, guys, if you can stand up, and then I'll read this and y'all repeat after me. If I think I can get this done where they can hear me. It's the oath of office, and basically, in the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I say your name. Do solemnly swear. Repeat after me.
Do solemnly swear
That I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of Perryton ISD Board of Trustees
of Perryton ISD Board of Trustees
and of the state of Texas.
and of the state of Texas.
I will, to the best of my ability,
I will, to the best of my ability,
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Come find your place.
All right, Noon Vela and Pete De Santiago. Guys, I look forward to serving with both of y'all. I've enjoyed what little bit I've worked with you guys around town, but mostly just enjoyed seeing y'all at different functions. And I have no doubt that both of you guys will be a great asset to our board and serve just as faithfully as Mike and Lloyd did. So welcome to the team, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, guys.
Okay. Now with that, we go on to election of board officers. So at this time, if there's no other discussion, I would entertain motions for any nominations for president.
Mr. President, I would like to nominate, continue to keep things the same as you as president at this time.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other nominations? Okay. All right. Do I have at this time, I have a motion to nominate Monty Kennard as president. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right, vice president. I'd entertain nominations for vice president.
Chairman, I move to stay with Tyler Merkel, Vice President.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. I have a motion for to keep Tyler Merkel as vice president. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. I have a motion and a second and a second. Is there really a tie? But to keep Tyler Merkel as president, as vice president. So, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, next up we have a vacancy. Mr. Heck was our secretary. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to nominate someone for secretary. Entertain a volunteer to be secretary.
Motion nomination for Joe Ogden.
Have a nomination for Mr. Ogden for secretary. Any further nominations? Okay. Any further discussion? All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second for Joe Ogden as secretary. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. And Mr. BA is now here. Okay.
Not smart enough to leave the phone alone.
I understand. Okay, on to community committees. The Tree Appraisal District, I believe we have to have three.
Three.
Okay, I knew we had three, but I thought we only had to have two. Okay, we've got to have, and I know that Mr. Cater was on that committee, so right,
No.
No, not on
I
this
gave you the
one.
memo.
It's Tyler.
Here it is.
Tyler,
Do I need-
Tyler, Richard, and Joe.
I move
Okay.
that we leave the appraisal district the same.
okay, Tyler, Joe, and Richard, okay. Okay, I have a motion to leave the three on the appraisal district the same at Tyler Merkel, Joe Ogden, and Richard B.A. Any further discussion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. So, motion and a second to leave the Tree Appraisal District the same with Tyler, Joe, and Richard. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Ranger Academic Enrichment Foundation, current members on the committee are Monty Kennard, Joe Ogden, Lloyd Cater, and we need a motion to replace Lloyd.
Richard, you want to stay on it?
I volunteered when they asked about a month ago, so.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to place Richard B.A. on the Ranger Academic Enrichment Foundation and to keep Monty Kennard and Joe Ogden. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Have a motion and a second to keep Monty Kennard and Joe Ogden on the committee and to add Richard B.A. in place of Lloyd Cater, who has finished his term. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. This board will now adjourn into executive session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meeting Act, 551.074, discussing personnel or to hear complaints against personnel. I call this meeting back to order. Okay, guys, we're going to skip down a little bit. We are moving down to softball field renovation update. We have Mr. Jim Powell with us tonight. Jim has been a great resource on this project, has really worked with our architect. As everybody knows, this kind of work is what Jim's done for years, and he has a vested interest in the softball field. So he has really worked closely with the architect to come up with a plan that is perhaps feasible to get this project done, and would even allow us the possibility of being our own general contractor, which would pretty much right up front save us about 20%. So,
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say before we give the floor to Jim?
No, my only thing is Jim has been on this since the very first time I went out to the softball field with this architect and telling him kind of what we wanted. And, we had to go back to the drawing board 2 or 3 times. We actually have plans now. We've looked at them. Jim's looked at them. Jim is our consultant, and again, he'll probably be our general contractor when we start this. He's done a lot of work on this. I appreciate him because I could look at those plans and not tell exactly what they were saying. He can because of his experience. But we appreciate that. He's come up with some cost stuff that you don't have a copy of this, I think, or do you in there? Do you have a copy of this work?
The blank ones in our
The blank ones in
package, I
there.
believe.
All right. Anyway, we can go over that. He can kind of tell you what he thinks we need to do. I think he has a lot of good ideas of how to do this, and he knows the people that locally can do it. So, Jim.
Well, after I guess it was 2 weeks ago tomorrow, that we met with the representatives of the architectural firm. And then 4 or 5 days later than that, Mr. Morales picked up the latest revised blueprints, and it's been apparent to me for a while that there's a couple of different ways this can be done. I think I have picked out 4 areas that I think the school should pay for. That way it will cost you just what it costs you, not what it costs the contractor plus his fee. And his fee is justified as it can be. But if we can skip that step, we ought to be able to skip it. Those 4 areas, we have to remove and replace 2 sets of bleachers in order to deal with the concrete underneath them, and then put them back. We need to take the press box off of that foundation and fix that foundation and then put it back. And we need to tear down a concrete masonry, a cinder block building that's probably 40 years old. And I've had Kenny Mackey out there looking at that. I've had Perry Allred out there looking at the bleacher stuff. I've been on 2 or 3 conference calls with the Beacon Athletics, and I have a ballpark quote from them. And we've only been working on this about a week and a half. I'm trying diligently to. We've made some modifications to these blueprints, and I'm trying diligently to get 4 identical sets with all the modifications on them to where I can disperse them to the local concrete contractors. And I'm I'm probably halfway through with that. So, in a nutshell, I think the school should be the general contractor. I will donate my time, and I will go out and I will watch the progress. I will approve the invoices. I'll bring them to Doug, and he can pay. I will be more than happy to do that. But by doing those large things, we know that we're just going to pay for what those large things cost. I'm not begrudging any contractor. I mean, I used to do it. I mean, I've put percentages on stuff for 30 years, so it's not a big, it's all justified. But if we can skip it, we can skip it. We've, one of the modifications we've made is the architect calls for the removal and replacement of the foundation under the press box. We have decided to just pour on top of the one that's there. He wanted to remove and replace the concrete under the home set of bleachers, and we have decided to not do that. We've had a few ideas on cost savings, but the biggest one is the school be the general, and we can just go at it. I would make this offer that I would like for this board, if you would meet me out there at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll show you exactly what we're talking about. I would be happy to do that. So if y'all want to do this, there are issues that if we do not address them, they will not go away.
Drainage.
Drainage.
To update the new board members, we've been dealing with this for over a year. It's got very frustrating. We started off talking about redoing the playing surface. Well, the reason is because of the pooling water on the playing surface, and we don't have a playable field. So they came in, they gave us a bid for that, replacing the dugouts, everything, yada, 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 $450,000. And they didn't address what was causing the field to flood to begin with. So, and we paid $18,000 for the architecture fees. So, we made them go back and say we've got to redo all this, and they brought us back another plan that now had tons and tons of concrete that we didn't need or ask for. And so we told them we don't need all that. We need some workable plans to get bids. They brought us back plans and said, well, we can't get it for the $160,000 y'all want to spend. It's going to be more like $250,000. And at that point, I was like, guys, nobody asked you to give us a bid. We asked for some workable plans so we can put it out for bids. So now through Mr. Morales and Jim working back and forth with the same architect under the same architect fees, we think we've got this closer to a workable plan, something that is feasible. It's basically our last sport that we have not addressed the playing surface to recently. And so we've reduced the scope of the project, and then if we're able to be the general contractors ourselves with Mr. Powell's help, then that also reduces a lot of the expense of the project that we're going to do.
Yeah, we also removed the landscape. I forgot about that. This guy had trees and shrubs and it was beautiful.
It was a pretty plan.
I guarantee
Oh yeah,
you,
it was beautiful. All right.
absolutely the most beautiful softball field you've ever seen in your life. If you had boatload of money.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock tomorrow?
Yes, I'll be at the softball field at 10 o'clock.
How many of you can make that?
New Mexico.
Good, I'd love to get other eyes on it.
Something.
You paid $9,000 for a topo survey that I can show you by eye what the problem is.
Yeah.
It will not go away.
Their fees, they are including their subsequent work under that initial fee, or there's additional fees being charged?
I
I
don't
don't
believe
think so.
there
I
are
don't think
additional
they've
fees.
said-
That's,
Their
they-
initial deal was $9,000. They would provide the plans, which they, I guess you could call that this. So they've, in my view, they've earned their $9,000 here, and the other $9,000 was for the topo survey. That's where the 18 comes.
Until the last 6 weeks, we didn't even have workable plans. They kept showing us the
More
small
than-
plans, but nothing that a contractor could look at and bid on because the scope of work was not broken down. So now we have detailed plans that we could actually send it out for a bid, and again, another opportunity to use local contractors at a time when the local economy's hurting.
So what's the next step here? Is
The next-
to
yeah.
estimate
Well,
the cost?
if, I need to, I mean, we've got Thanksgiving next week. We have less than 60 days before softball starts. There's
Right.
3 holidays in there. It isn't gonna happen.
That's what
I would like to have another couple of weeks, maybe 3, to get you as good a price as I can get. And then I would like for you to give me your blessing, but then I'd also like to start the project after softball season in May.
So you would get us an estimate, and we would tell you whether to move on, but we would still open it up to bids to the
I'm
individual
gonna open it
contractors.
up, I'm gonna bid the majority of it.
So you'll have a pretty
I'm
solid
gonna
price
bid
for us.
that, and everyone knows that they're not gonna give me a bid in 10 days that's gonna work in May. They're gonna pad it just a little bit, or they're gonna want me to pad it just a little bit. But there'll be, I'll have to put a contingency in this.
Okay.
But, I'm gonna get about as close as I can get.
Okay,
The net material and freight is $18,400, and it's still gotta be corrected. So I've gotta figure that out. I mean, I know what to do, but I haven't priced it.
and you think someone locally can construct the net?
It's
Okay,
gonna take a crane.
okay. Because I know you had some concerns on that when you and I talked earlier.
Right.
Yeah, we have a crane in town, and it can be done. I used to be a concrete contractor. I will bid this concrete job myself, just so I know the volume that's there. I haven't done it yet, but I will. I will get just as absolutely close to it as I can possibly get. Hopefully get your blessing. It's a 6-week process getting this net. They ship you the poles, you put the poles in, and then they come take measurements after the poles are in. And that's a month. You couldn't get it in if you tried to get it in now.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a fun little project, but it's doable. It's doable. I've changed a few things that, in my view, make it more doable and less expensive. But that's what I'd hope to. May take a special meeting in 3 weeks or so.
We'll probably be having our regular board meeting and not
In about
too
that
long
about
because
that
we
time,
got
about that
Christmas,
time.
so
Okay.
it'll probably be around the 17th or 15th. Probably the 17th is a Thursday, depending on when we're playing basketball.
Right.
So that's probably.
I think the
when we're looking-
17th is the day.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my goal, is to get you as close as I can get you, and then get your blessings, and then start it in May.
Okay.
And for the new guys, we've kind of turned this into phases. Okay, right now, the first phase is let's get rid of the flooding and all that stuff. Next phase would be, okay, let's go to the field and let's fix the field up. You see what I'm saying? Rather than trying to do the whole thing, because we don't have the money to do the whole thing right now.
Well, I believe what Jim is proposing would take us through not the plain surface of the field, but it'd take care of the flood issues and then the dugouts and the
And the
backstop.
backstop.
So it would really be like a new field. And I know Coach Powell had suggested that she feels like she can work the playing surface down to what we need over a couple of years of just reworking the field. just all on how the field's graded, so. All right.
Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Jim. Appreciate it.
Okay. Now, public hearing regarding the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, acronym first. You got that?
That's Doug.
I think you board members should have a copy of this in your
We do?
Yep.
packet. So here's our public right here. They'll kind of set it up. So we would call the public meeting open, and I'll make some presentations, and then we'll ask for comments from the public and everything too. The first item is there's two parts to it. We're going to review the first annual financial management report, like we do every year. And this discusses the reimbursements received by the superintendent and board members. And this is for the fiscal year ending August 31st, 2019, which is the same as what our first report would be about too, that same year. You can see the reimbursements, superintendent, $11,927.56 in various functions. And the board members, 3 of them had $50, was for a registration fee for a conference, but other than that, we have to disclose the superintendent's current employment contract, and that is available on our website, so that meets the criteria for that. Outside compensation and fees received by the superintendent, there are none. Gifts received by executive officers and board members, there are none of those. And business transactions between the school board and board members, there were none of those. So this is a formality of what we have to disclose. The next section is our school first rating. For this year, we received a district score of 72, which is a rating of C. The primary reasons, there are 2 main reasons. If you remember last year, and I've included some comments there for you, our auditors found 2 findings on our audit last year. Remember when we talked about our audit? I've got these right here. Finding number 1, we were non-compliant in signing of these semi-annual certifications in IDEA-B program. We've always done that, but when at the time of the audit, Mary Nine thought we had those at the campus level, but we couldn't really locate them all, but we've done them for years, but we couldn't find them at that point in time. We were in compliance this year. We finished our audit last week, and everything as far as these findings were fine. We sort of corrected that, made that correction. Technically, I think that was a finding, but I think in my opinion, I don't think it rose to the level of the way the auditors reported it on to. The second finding was that they said that we failed to complete a excess cost calculation template that TEA provided, and I wasn't aware that we had to do that. Mary Nine and all the schools that she talked to her people about that, she wasn't aware. And when we submitted our corrective action plan to TEA came back and said we were not required to do that. So we have it in writing that they said they do not support the auditor's conclusion of that finding there. So that sort of indicated it was I wasn't aware we had to do it. We have since done it, but it doesn't do anything for us. It's just sort of an internal type deal. But neither here nor there, those 2 findings cost us $10 10 points each, which is 20 points. And the other items are just normal stuff. On finding number 10, it's a debt service coverage ratio, we got 4 points. And finding 7, current assets to current liability ratio, we got 8 points instead of 10 points. So that made up our difference there to get down to 72 instead of 90, 92. With the increase to our fund balance this year, we're going to pass all those ratios this coming year. And obviously, they will not have any compliance issues for this coming year. So I wanted everyone to understand that we're not pleased with receiving a 72, but it meets standard. It's a passing score. But next year we plan to have.
Should have an A this time.
Next year, I believe so. So, saying all that, I would entertain any questions from any board members or any public members concerning the first reading for the year 8/31/19. If there are none, we'll consider the public hearing closed. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Call. Okay. Moving on to reports. FCCLA Region Officer and Local Chapter Officer Report.
Are they here? Matt? There they are. There she is. Come on in. Yeah, they can come. If you want to come up here, they can see. Come on up here where they can see you on the camera. That way the camera can get you. Okay, Miss Tanner, how do you want to do this?
Well, they're going to speak to you guys. This is our FCCLA Region 1 Vice President of Finance, Emily Rodriguez, and she is a senior here at Perryton High School. And so she is going to talk to you guys a little bit about her region office. And then we brought along some of our chapter officers who are going to kind of give you an overview of what our chapter has been doing this year so far and some of our plans. So go for it.
Good evening, my name is Emily Rodriguez, and I am the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, Region 1 VP of Finance Officer. When I was a freshman in high school, I was a shy person who loathed leaving her comfort bubble. But that changed. After joining FCCLA, I had to constantly be shoved out of my comfort zone to complete tasks that FCCLA had given me to do. These tasks took courage and fearlessness, which I did not think I had, but somehow I quickly adapted. The shy little girl I used to be was no more. As a senior in high school, I am ranked in the top 4% of my graduating class. I have also participated in many activities and donated much of my time to serve our community. In my junior year, I attended regionals with our Lady Cross Country team and attended the playoff game against Canadians with basketball, both as an alternate. Then, when I had time during the week, I participated in helping our local community food bank, Gyra, where I helped restock shelves for the 200 families they serve. And I also volunteered to teach third graders about the Bible in my church, the Immaculate Conception Catholic Church. All of this heartfelt work was worth everything, so I decided to become someone who was more included with the community by turning into the person I am today, a region officer. I was first fascinated with the position at my first year of competition in FCCLA because I saw these students walking around helping others in these awesome red blazers. I wanted to become this superhero in a red cape, inspiring others to become leaders with a purpose who promote personal, family, and career development and its members all around the nation. When I finally became an officer the next year, it felt so refreshing to finally do something that has not been done since the 1990s at Perryton High School, become a region officer. I get to be in charge of money that comes in and out of the regional chapter, and even award other chapters of their accomplishments, which by the way is super cool. This student-led organization is an organization that helps so many students and communities accomplish their dreams and goals. I don't know about you, but that is something I'm grateful to be a part of. FCCLA takes a lot of courage and leadership to be in because as a member, they're constantly pushed to present themselves as great citizens. So I come here today to tell you that this student-led organization is a great thing for Perryton, Texas, to give us opportunities to showcase leadership skills statewide and nationwide. Thank you for allowing me this time to share about our FCCLA program at Perryton High School. Now, these amazing officers will present to you all of our accomplishments we've done this year. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Kayla Chires and I am the current chapter president. I started FCCLA as a freshman and continued with it throughout my 4 years of high school. For me and many others, FCCLA has been a place to grow and learn countless valuable skills for life ahead. Through FCCLA's focus on peer education, competition, and community service, our members have been able to find various projects that they can enjoy throughout our chapters. Currently, we are busy with various projects. For example, every Thursday our chapter lends a hand over at our local food bank, Gyra. We also have been helping the kindergarten transfer their library every Friday. A recent big project our chapter did was the Pink Pumpkins. We bought many pumpkins and painted them all with breast cancer awareness decorations. Once completed, we delivered them to all our teachers across the schools of Perryton who have or are fighting a battle with breast cancer. By being involved in these projects, we hope to spread positivity throughout our schools and community. As of now, we have a total of 45 members. Out of these members, 24 of them have chosen to compete in our regional competition in hopes to advance to state. I have learned so much and continue to discover new skills every year. FCCLA has really pushed me out of my comfort zone and enhances my life every day. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeanette, and I'm also an officer this year for FCCLA. Today I'm going to speak on a huge part of FCCLA, and it's about raising awareness for situations and issues that are prone to happen for kids our age. For example, bullying, domestic violence, mental health, and cyberbullying. Our primary goal for this whole thing is to bring light in these big situations that are not really talked about. Whether you may know someone personally or not, they could always be going through their own battles. So with our good intentions, it's for our good intentions to let them know that we are always here. Whether they're asking for help or support themselves or not, as long as we're doing our part and letting them know that they're always heard and cared for. So for a better explanation, every month there's usually some sort of event that we take time to raise awareness for. To give an example, in October, the FCCLA team worked on raising awareness for domestic violence. One of the ways we did this was by designing what we called our Red Ladies, and these are cut-out figures of women. On them, we have painted them wearing different kinds of clothes to represent that whatever you wear isn't necessarily, doesn't give people the right to sexually abuse you or harass you in any way. Then, written at the top of the clothes are written true stories of women that are victims of domestic violence and trafficking. So that was one of the many things that we did for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. As of right now, we are really currently preparing for the next month that has an event, which is in January, which focuses on human trafficking. So we're excited to bring attention to these kinds of real life problems. Furthermore, I'm glad to be involved in such a caring and accepting program.
Good evening. I am Alexis Rodriguez. I'm a senior in high school this year. I have been in FCCLA since my freshman year of high school. FCCLA is welcoming and offers all members a platform to achieve their goals and prepare for life after high school. I am a Star Event officer for this chapter. Star events are competitive events in which FCCLA members compete at region, district, state, and national level and are recognized for proficiency, achievement in chapter and individual projects, leadership skills, and career preparation. FCCLA Star events create a path for members to explore projects that are important to each student individually. For me personally, I have competed in FCCLA Star event my sophomore year, and it was an amazing experience. I truly enjoyed it. I have always been conscious of the environment and how we treat our planet. I grew up with my grandma recycling aluminum cans and using reusable containers. I slowly watched the transition to the use of excessive single-use plastics. I've always I've always been inspired by environmentalists and people who are active advocates for bettering the environment. I never thought, as a single individual, that I could possibly make a difference in our environment. My freshman year, I found out about the FCCLA competitions and the projects other members had done, and I was inspired. The following year, I competed in an event called Environmental Ambassador. I loved doing the project and everything that came with the experience. The project had so many individual projects. My group and I made a children's book about plastic. We did presentations, and we started a recycling program in our school. We have 5 recycling bins all around the high school campus. We recycle plastic bottles. We started a recycling team in FCCLA. After placing these recycling bins, there are almost 200 plastic bottles recycled every 2 weeks. FCCLA gives members opportunities to better themselves, our community, and our world. This year I am doing a project called Chapter Service Project Portfolio. My project is based on helping the less fortunate. These are only the projects I have done. There are thousands of FCCLA members nationwide doing their own projects. FCCLA is a broad open window window of opportunity for all the students.
Hi, my name is Grammy Ciala and I'm the TAFI officer this year. Our TAFI chapter was started this year. We have made it a part of our FCCLA chapter. We did this because so many of our FCCLA projects are along the same lines as TAFI. We have very few members in our TAFI part of the group, but they are involved in our projects that focus on children. Our motto for TAFI is a better hope for tomorrow. The organization is for any person who is interested in being a teacher, coach, or a counselor. FCCLA and TAFI helped decorate it for Veterans Day this year. We hope to have shown our appreciation towards our veterans. We're thankful to have that opportunity and cannot thank them enough for what they've done and continue to do. I am competing this year for FCCLA. We are doing a poster on our school rags, Random Acts of Kindness. We hope to be able to spread kindness around our school by putting post-it notes with positive sayings on the students' cars. We also participated in World Kindness Day to spread kindness awareness in our student body. Last year, we made a decision to open up a personal hygiene closet in our high school where students who have needs for personal hygiene products can visit to get things like shampoo, soap, deodorant, salts, laundry soap, etc. We also decided to take that step further by providing personal hygiene products in all of the high school restrooms. In the girls' restrooms, we provide many personal hygiene products ranging from feminine products to deodorant, toothbrushes, and toothpaste, Kleenex, lotions, flossers, etc. This has been a huge success. The thing that we were most worried about was that kids would take advantage of this and make a mess of things. We have been so surprised by the gratitude shown to us providing these little things for our students. We refill the baskets in the restroom every 2 weeks. We have been asked to also add these baskets to the boys' restroom. We have decided that that would be our next step in providing something to help and assist our students so that their lives can be made just a little better by our small act of kindness. Our chapter works hard on focusing on the needs of our community and our student body. This year, since we have been grounded, we have put more focus on the overall health and well-being of our student body at the high school. We have enjoyed doing our part to make things a little brighter at PHS. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Isabella Hansen, a sophomore in high school and as well as an officer, and I got to do a fundraiser for Eric and Miranda Newcomb. It all started about 2 months ago when my neighbor's house burned down. They lost completely everything and I knew I wanted to do something about it. So I went to Ms. Tanner and we talked about it for a while and we decided that we could do a fundraiser for them. We held a fundraiser on October 30th at one of our Ranger football games and it went very well. We raised $113 and then later Meta Hansen matched the total to make it $226 raised. Later that day we got another donation that consisted of brand new steel-toed boots that were still in the box and were given to one of the sons by a very nice man by the name of Stephen Collier. The family is still yet so grateful for everything that we have done for them. My competition project this year is chapter service. Alexis and I are working on this project together. Our whole focus is feeding those who are hungry in our community. We started this project with a penny drive to raise money for a snack pack for kids. We will finish this on November 30th and we have several donations already brought in. Our next step with this project is to host a high school canned food drive to donate all the canned food items to our community food bank. We will also focus on taking up the canned food donations for Jara at our Homeless for the Night event at the basketball game in December. We hope to be able to provide a large donation for Jara so that we can help feed the 240 families that Jara currently serves now. Thank you for supporting our FCCLA chapter and allowing us to learn how to serve in our community and become leaders.
Hello, my name is Chloe Tanner, and I am the Vice President of Power of One. Power of One is 5 individual self-paced units of self-improvement. The 5 units are Working on Working, Family Ties, A Better You, Speak Out for FCCLA, and Take the Lead. In each of these units, students can choose their own projects to work on and how to improve themselves or the relationships that they have. Some of the projects range from creating a family tree to preparing nutritious meals for your family, creating family activities to do together, to investigating careers. This year, as an officer team, we have decided to focus more on mental health of our students. Currently, we have participated in National Suicide Prevention Month and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have also added in the suicide hotline number on our star sheet journals. We are now planning on bringing in some therapy dogs because we know that the students would react positively to them. I am currently working on my comparative event project in career investigation over the career of psychology. I have learned many things pertaining to this career from all the projects that we do in FCCLA, and for the time being it seemed like a good fit for me. In FCCLA, we have learned to help many people and organizations over the years. Our officer team plans our program of works each year. The passions that our officer team has is what guides our projects. Our projects all fall under family, career, and community and must pertain to the 8 purposes of FCCLA. The PHS FCCLA chapter focuses on 3 things while we plan our projects. We focus on community service, peer education, and competition. Each of our members get to find their place in our chapter, and we help them focus on their passions and achieve their goals. Thank you for supporting our chapter.
Thank you guys very
Great job.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you
Tanner.
guys.
Thanks, girls.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, moving on to the superintendent's report. First up, we have student and staff recognition.
All right, this is going to be fun.
Lot to read.
A lot to read, a lot of names.
That's a good problem to have.
That's a good problem to have. First is our Perryton High School cross-country team. If you've been keeping up with them, they've been very successful this year. They were second at regional in Lubbock. They will participate at state the 24th, which is next Tuesday, I believe. And I don't, what's the name of the park, do you know?
Old Settlers Park.
Old Settlers Park, and y'all are in Austin at that time, you'll be able to go do it. So we're going to try to get somebody there. But anyway, they were very close, by the way, of being first. Just a couple of places out, and a couple of kids placed a little better, and I think we'd have been regional champs. So they stand a very good chance to do very well. But here are the individuals: Adrian Ceniceros, Julian Romero, Jonathan Alliance, Eduardo Castillo, George Palma, Javier Ledesma, and Alejandro Uribe. That's which cross-country team they're going to state. The Perryton High School girls volleyball, this is all-district volleyball team. Grisel Hernandez, first team. Tanya Navarrete, second team. Caden Wilson, honorable mention. Jocelyn Medina, honorable mention. Yancey Judice, honorable mention. And Joanna Perez, honorable mention. So that's a very good deal that we had that many people on that list. Perryton High School choir, this is soprano district choir. Jocelyn Medina, Tanya Navarrete, Maddie Schickendance, Katie Thomas, and Brianna Williamson. The alto district choir, Abigail Baker, Tiana Hill, and Cadence Scott. Tenor district choir, Brody Bigham and Colin Taylor. The bass district choir, Luis Assad. William Baker, Manuel Granello, Pablo Perez, and Jacob Schallenberger. Soprano regional, now we're moving to regional choir, Jocelyn Medina. Alto regional choir, Tiana Hill, Caden Scott. Tenor region choir, Brody Bigham, Colin Taylor. Bass, a bass regional choir, Pablo Perez, Jacob Schallenberger. And now the football team, again, guys, we're saying by-district champs, but they play Friday night in Lubbock, in Friendship. They could be regional champs. We go up there and play very well, we could be regional champs. So these are the players so that you'll know who they are. Ramon Olivendez, Luis Bernal, Pepper Haley, Tyler Fager, Isaac Gabriel, Shepard Miller, Isaac Castro, Tony Cervantes, Derek Pickett, Jacob Schallenberger, Abraham Hernandez, Pablo Perez, Jose Martinez, George Palma, Brenton Heater, Hira Romero, Jackson Blackshear, Joseph Shell, Yana Escobar, Taylor Johnston, Leo Lopez, Oscar Castro, Brian Chacon, Preston Hernandez, Josiah Garcia, J.D. Mendez, Edwin Osana, Zane Eiler, Alonzo Tarango, Efren Torres, and Vance Virrell. A lot of kids to be recognized tonight. And hopefully I didn't butcher the names too bad.
Not too bad. All right, thank you, Mr. Morales. A lot of good things going on in Perryton ISD. Okay, moving on to rapid COVID-19 testing.
Yes, I just wanted to give you all an update in case you're seeing the news and what's going on. The state of Texas, we're giving out paying for COVID tests for school districts if they wanted to use them. They sent me all the information. I looked at it. I really wasn't sure whether we want to do this. We have nurses that are busy just keeping up with COVID and reporting it and tracing it back and doing all that stuff. So I sent all that information to our local doctors. They looked at it, basically said, I don't think you want to get into this. You need to let us do this. And so we chose not to do that right now. The only school district I can think of that's locally that is actually testing teachers and students is Borger. Borger ISD is doing that. So I don't know if they're large enough to do that or not. It seems to be the larger districts are choosing to do that. The little smaller districts are choosing not to. But if anybody asks you out there right now, we're choosing not to get into the medical field of doing the testing for teachers or students.
Plus, there's a lot of concern with the accuracy of those rapid testing, especially with non-professionals doing them. And I know with OGH, they've got the best testing available in the nation right here in Perryton. So
yeah,
I don't see any need to try to take it up ourselves.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that.
All right. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have some resignations. Mr. Morales?
Yeah, we have 2 resignations. Both individuals had dual contracts. In other words, it was athletic and teaching. Matt Sardello and Naomi Sardello. They have officially resigned their positions in the athletic part of their contract. They will continue the teaching part of the contract for the remainder of the contract, which would mean the end of the year. But those are the 2 resignations we have.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Morales. Going on to CFO's report, Mr. Cowell.
The first section is our disbursements report. We have 3 sections. Mine doesn't have page numbers at the bottom. I don't know if yours does either, but the first one, checks pending for November, there's 1 and 2 pages of those. And then the next section is the checks paid for November 2020. There are pages 1 through 8 of those. And then the computer checks written, that's through 8. And then a complete listing of the checks for the disbursements for the month of October. There's pages 1 through 26 of those. So as always, if y'all have a question, especially you new guys, if you have a question on anything in there, feel free to bring it up at the meeting, or if you could give me text me on it or call me on my cell phone or something, and we'll be glad to look up something and try to have it ready for the meeting and everything. Sometimes we just need to figure out, give you a little explanation on that. No problem at all. Feel free. Next is our cash position and book balance reports. Our total cash position, our checking account, you see $416,245 spread over those. Our general operating funds, our reconciled book balance, $7,289,000, including CDs of that at the end of October, $7,165,000, and the schedule of those CDs is attached there on the next page. The interest and sinking fund, $174,353, includes CDs of $174,353 there. The next page, there's the detail of those 2 CDs there. Food service fund, $2,105 in that one. Special education funds, $215,343. Activity accounts, $360,555. Includes CDs of $310,992.60. Schedule of those CDs is attached there on the next page. Ranger Roundup Daycare, $6,973. Capital projects, no cash and checking, but our CD for $81,117. That's our capital project fund. We're accumulating funds for down the road for you, some of you 2 new guys, to maybe in 10 years if we need to replace the Ranger Field turf. We started that after we did the last time, so we contributed 2 years of payments into it. So we have budgeted another payment into it this year.
We're doing $40,000 every year, correct? And the rest is interest.
So that's that. Okay, then we got our final look at the prior year financials, and I've included those with you. We sort of looked at those. They haven't changed much, but these should agree to our audit. We ended up in our general operating fund, we adding $2,066,958 fund balance, which was excellent. And like we've talked about in the past, there's 3 reasons for that. Part of it is the comptroller's audit on the T2 property values resulted in our foundation funds going up from what we had used previously. And then the state energy office and the lighting project, those proceeds went into fund balance this year, where the expenditures were reported in the prior year, or most of the expenditures, and then various expenditures that we didn't spend during the year. And in our general fund, you can see those items there spelled out. Some of the bigger items in function 11, we $321,000 we didn't spend. In function 51, $158,000 in various functions there. We ended up we had some savings last year due to COVID issues, and we saved in substitute teachers and some things like that. And so all in all, we had an excellent year financially for last year. It gets our fund balance to about where we need to be. So I think we're in good shape moving forward. You know, we've got our variables coming up with the state funding. We're pretty well guaranteed the second year of this biennium that we're in now, but the legislature will be in session in, I guess, January or February, and you just, whenever they're in session, you just never know what they'll do to us.
See what House Bill 4 does to us.
Yeah, exactly.
3 was terrible.
Exactly. So you can see on the capital projects that we did last year, we did $265,919 worth, and we had budgeted $538, so there's some things we did not spend. The undesignated was about over $250,000 that we didn't spend, which, of course, that rolls into our fund balance as part of that $2 million deal. So okay, now flip through there to the financial statements for the general fund with the spreadsheet. This page up here, our revenues for, this is for 2 months ending October 31st. Revenues of $3,136,000, expenditures of $4,111,000. We, the first few months of the fall, we always spend more than we collect. In fact, we collected very, very little property taxes in the month of October, and I think one of the reasons is, like we normally do, the property tax statements were not out in 1st of October like they normally do. I think there's since, I've got some sent to me, so I think they came out probably about a week ago, maybe, approximately.
Yeah.
So we did get our first interim payment the other day of $125,000. Whenever they receive enough money over their limit, they send us a check.
Well, we used to incentivize early payments too, and we've not been doing that.
Right. And as long as we have a good fund balance, I don't think we should give up the revenue for that. But we ended up last year with an exceptionally higher delinquent property tax roll too. I don't know if y'all are aware of that. Due to the economy and various taxpayers, there's a lot of, our delinquent roll really went up. So for the current roll. And so that's as long as we can end up getting that collected, we'll generate some penalty and interest on that. But it makes you wonder, ultimately that's something to keep in the back of our mind for. So. But we should start, the tax money should start rolling in. We'll get a sort of a surge in November now, since the tax statements are out. And then we get another surge at the end of December, 1st of January, when people are paying at the end of December. And then they go delinquent January 31st. And the last week of January, we get some huge payments. And the first week of February, we get some huge payments. And then that's the bulk of our tax collection is collected through the first week of February, when they can't count for those. So we have adequate cash flow to make everything work. We're not in any problems there. We withstand delayed payments, so everything worked out fine. So the next item is our financial statement is the capital outlay for the current year. You can see we have our capital outlay budget of $434,000. We've spent $66,000, and we've got a purchase order. We're in the middle of a remodeling project for our admin building. Y'all are probably aware of that. We're moving some things around, and we've had some payments there in the purchase order for some stuff there. But we have undesignated capital projects there of $262,000, which some of that will be used, I think, for a softball project, and then other items there too. So.
Okay.
Then on the financial statement format, you can see we haven't had any budget amendments yet at all this year. We haven't had the need to, but our estimated revenues, the $22,127,693 is exactly what was budgeted for last year. And on the expenditure side, $22,027,000. We've expended $2 million year to date, $4,111,000 again on this format. It's food service fund revenues of $39,000, expenditures of $197,000. We're sort of a month behind. We count the revenue when we collect it. So we have a pretty good payment that hit today for the last month. So we're sort of, for a month behind, it sort of distorts it early on. So I think we're doing good. We're doing better there. Of course, we have our debt service fund there is just barely getting started. We have delinquent collections for September and October of $3,442. That's it there. Ranger Roundup revenues of $42,959 and expenditures of, and then I gave a detail of the revenues, and on the expenditure side, $74,024 there on that. And the detail of those expenditures there, you can see on that last page there, totaling up to those. For the new guys, our arrangement on the Ranger Roundup, we had, I made a transfer today to help cover payroll that's going out tomorrow. But ultimately, last year, Ranger Roundup had a net loss of over $200,000. And our arrangement with the hospital district is that they are partners for 50% of that. So we make transfers for our part into there, we budget those, and they count revenue there. And the hospital district subsidizes half of that also. So we got that. Once we get our audit completed, we will send the billing over to the hospital, and we should be able to get a check from them.
But your numbers are improving, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It's looking, of course, the COVID issues hurt it last year too, and they were closed. But the director, she talks to me a lot, but she needs to communicate more to y'all, I believe, too, just to see how things are going. I think she's optimistic. Mr. Morales, don't you think so too?
Yeah, she's about 50% full right now, and she thinks with the latest things we're doing, we can almost get to 2/3 full, hopefully totally full by the end of the year.
I know they hired a new teacher, signed off on one today, that's going to be working with the infants. So they have strict ratios for so many kids per employee they have to maintain for those younger kids. So it's a little bit encouraging, but we've got a lot of fixed costs in that thing that we have to.
Yeah, attendance is the key. Attendance is the key. So
Yeah.
Yes.
we need some customers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fill
Like
it up.
we do in our schools too. Attendance is the key.
They use the word customer, but
ADA, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
ADA.
customers, really, aren't they?
Yeah, I like that.
Thinking of attendance and enrollment, the last thing on my list here is our enrollment report. And Maribel's included an explanation of the difference between enrollment and ADM there. Y'all see that on the little explanation page right before the report there. You can see our enrollment as of November, our total number of students, 2106 compared to a prior year of 2202. And back in October, it was 2130, so we're down from the 2106, about 24 kids there from October.
Do we think we were impacted very much by dropping the virtual program? How many students actually withdrew when we got away from that?
Yeah, my conversation with principals is, maybe 1 or 2 kids is probably what we lost out of that deal, that chose to go homeschooling.
Okay.
But I don't know if we have them all back yet. That's the question, if we're getting them all back yet. But they've all been contacted and said come back to school.
Okay. All right. Moving on to director reports. I'd like to start out, Coach Hab, do you have anything to add to your report?
I Good night.
All right. Any questions for Coach Haberther?
The win?
Good luck, yeah.
What?
A win.
Are we gonna win? Can't foresee a future.
All right. There you go.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yes, sir. That's guaranteed.
Mr. Clark, do you have anything to add to your report?
I do, just because I would like to give you some good COVID numbers. Today's the first day in 2 or 3 weeks that I have not sent out COVID letters to any campus, which means no new cases today. We have a total active cases of 12. That's 7 staff and 5 students, and that's close to the lowest it's been. It was a little lower earlier this week, but we caught back up. The other number that is very good is right now we only have 35 students out on quarantine. That number was about 85 a week ago. So things are looking better. I always knock on wood when I say that, because it usually makes me pay for it the next day or two.
Yes.
But it's looking like, at least for now, we're in a low spot.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Clark? Thank you. Perryton Food Service, is Ms. Walker here?
She out there? No.
No, she's not here, but she's not
Okay.
Sherry.
All right.
Yeah, Sherry.
Moving on to maintenance, Mr. Kemp.
I don't have anything to add.
Questions for Mr. Kemp?
Let me brag on Mr. Kent just a little bit, guys. We're talking about redoing our offices over here. We're making a coach's office over here, and we're building another storage room for our books and records and all those stuff. His staff and him, when they have extra time, have built that room back there, and cost us very little because it was our labor and a lot of the material we actually had. So they have done an excellent job of finding time to do that without us having to get a contractor to come and do that.
For the record, that's academic coach's office.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're not going to bring we're not bringing Habs coaches up here. The academic coach's office, which I'm telling them their head coach is Dr. Rock, not Coach Hab. And so we're real excited about getting them up here and getting them working for our district. I think we're going to see a world of difference with them actually going out and helping us.
Okay. All right, and then Ranger Roundup. Dr. Rock, did you have anything to add to Ranger Roundup report?
I don't think so. I think she may have 50 is what she reported to me this week, so she may be up 1 student there.
Up one, maybe. Okay. All right, Mr. Throgmorton, you have anything to add to your report?
I can't think of anything.
Any questions for Mr. Throgmorton? Okay. Mrs. Wilson, I think I saw her out there
She was
somewhere.
out there.
I do have 2 things to add. We had 1 more student finish today around 2 p.m., so
All
they'll
right.
add to our graduate list. And to springboard off of Mr. Morales, I had a safety concern. I got a hold of Mr. Kemp and Mr. Throckmorton, and we got it figured out.
Good.
So, they're great.
All right. Guys, one of the possible dates for our next school board meeting, December 17th, is no longer possible because we have graduation to go to that night. So everybody mark December 17th off your list of possible dates for the next board meeting.
That was a Thursday, right?
Yes, that's a Thursday.
Unless we were after.
Huh?
Unless we went after.
Unless we went after. That is a possibility. Not a very good one, but a possibility.
It is December.
Yes, it is December, and we got to have it sometime.
All options are open.
Graduation's at 7. We would be done by about 7:45. We could start a school board meeting at 8 o'clock if that's our only option.
Be out of here for Friday.
There you go. There you go. All right. Yeah, we've had those where we didn't get out of here on the same day, huh? Okay, Mr. Sproul, do you have anything to add to your report?
No, sir. I think Mr. Morales highlighted what's going on right now, and the young ladies detailed a lot of great service activities. We've had great coaches and great teachers leading our young men and women, and it's a great thing. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Mr. Garcia, do you have anything to add to your report?
Yes, sir. You should be able to see the Perryton Junior High robotics team and Phillips 66 with the Turpin Robotics team on News Channel 7 in Amarillo tonight at 10, as well as tomorrow morning at 7.
Okay.
We'll make it a goal to see them tonight at 10.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Mr. Garcia. All right, Mr. Cates.
Nothing to add, it's all good at Williams.
All good at Williams. Love to hear it. Okay. Mrs. Beats? I didn't see Mrs.
She's
Beats.
not feeling
Under
it.
the
All good
weather,
at right too.
But she
Okay.
reports all is good, nothing to add.
All right.
He's under the weather.
Thank you. And Mr. Felix?
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add. Just a big thumbs up. Okay. Good deal. And now on to curriculum and instruction reports. Dr. Rock.
I do have a few things to add on the community partnership with Seaboard. We do have the draft that's been written by our attorney, Fred Stormer. So we have shared that with the Seaboard personnel. And then I also called Leroy Schaffner,
Yes.
who we partner with the hospital as well. So let him know that we were looking at starting this partnership, and he was really excited because their shifts also start at 6 o'clock. So
Yes.
it's going to be a twofold
Oh,
benefit
twofold,
with
yeah.
Seaboard starting their shifts at 6.
That's
So-
the reason so many people at the hospital don't use it, and we were told when we did this last year that we could not legally be open for more than 12 hours a day, which is why we set our hours as we did, or 10 hours a day, whatever. And so the extended hours have been approved.
We would be opening at 6:05 to get around that restriction. So, yes, 6:05, and then the early staff that would be hired would open at 5:45. So they'd come in to open the center and get ready for any of the children that come in at 6:05.
And then it would only be open until 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Flexible's good.
Well, the Seaboard deal, guys, will give us more kids.
Yeah.
And I think the hospital time may give us
Hospital
more kids
will
too.
give us more too. I mean,
I think it will too.
yeah, they have lots of 7 to 7 shifts, so there would still be that last hour, but they could drop their kids off on their way to work and then make arrangements for someone to pick them up for that last hour. I think it'd be great.
And then you go to the hospital.
All right.
We hope to increase some of the numbers there.
I think there's
And instead of starting December the 1st, given that we need to give Seaboard some time to review the contract as well, we are looking at January 2021 for a start date with that contract
Okay,
with Seaboard.
that's fantastic news. Anything else to add to your report?
I have one more bit of information that I just want to share, and I have had the opportunity to visit with Region 16, who helps with our Head Start program here in the district. They actually oversee the Head Start in the region. And we have the opportunity to start an early Head Start with infants to 3-year-olds in the district. And I think just hearing the young lady sharing just the need out in the community, you know, a lot of these families may not be able to afford daycare, be able to afford the learning center. So this would open up the opportunities for those families to have infants to 3-year-olds start with their early education. So that is something that we would like some direction from the school board. And, you know, we would be looking at starting a survey, sending a survey to the community to see if there is an interest and determining what the need would be. And the Region 16 would come in and help us do the training and help us with any of the licensing that we would need to do. So the closest early Head Starts that we have to this area is Tampa and Borger. And if we were to start the early Head Start here in Perryton, the students that would enroll are not bound with the boundaries with the district. So we could potentially receive students from our surrounding rural communities. They would be coming to the early Head Start if we choose to go that route. They do have a grant application that would be due in April. So we would have to be looking at kind of gathering all the information, Right now, we're gathering the trends of early Head Start, I'm sorry, the Head Start. We have Head Start right now in Perryton with our Perryton Kendra campus through the pre-K program.
And the Head Start program is just for at-risk students, correct?
Correct. So income eligible families
Okay.
that may not necessarily have that early education for their children.
Okay. Does it also qualify for special needs children regardless of
Yes.
income? That's
So they have to service special needs as well.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So with early Head Start, it would be the same way?
I'm sorry?
With early Head Start, it would be the exact same requirements as Head Start, only we're just reducing the age?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So we would start infants 6 weeks to age 3.
Okay.
So right now it's 3 is the youngest?
I
or
think
4?
right now we only have 1 3-year-old
One
in
3-year-old.
our pre-K program, but it's for the most part the students are 4-year-olds in the pre-K program.
Yes. Okay. All right. Anything else, Dr. Rock?
I think that's all I have.
Any questions for Dr. Rock? Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Moving on to minutes of the prior meeting. This time I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the prior meeting.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the prior meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Name, you didn't raise your hand, were you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay,
I'll give
seven,
it up.
I didn't know.
I should just say yes.
I didn't know if you weren't voting because you were, okay, so 7-0. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay. Discussion or action items? Okay, discussion and possible action on PGAH Targeted Improvement Plan. Mr. Morales, do you have anything to go over before we,
Yeah, Dr. Rock is the one who, and she probably just went out, didn't she?
She did.
Yeah. Do you have that for the junior high improvement plan?
Yes, give me a second. Let me pull it
Okay.
up here. I do apologize for the report that we submitted. That is how it downloaded when we went in to print it. So I
yeah, it's
thought we
awful
could-
small, right?
It is
You
very
can't see it
small,
in your
so our requirement when we submit it to PEA is, of course, to get that submitted. However, when we view it on the screen where you can zoom into it. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of information on the school improvement plan, the targeted improvement plan. And this is the theory of action for school improvement. So we have this cycle that if the district or the school builds that common vision, assesses the current state of the school practices in relation to that vision, and then we have to go in to prioritize those gaps in the systems and practices, connect to effective and specialized capacity builders, receive that ongoing targeted feedback and support in the plan implementation and change management. So that is a whole cycle that just continues to repeat. And if we do that, then the school and the students' outcomes, of course, are going to improve. So this is the effective schools framework that we have to follow. And you'll see that there's 5 components to it. On the outer circle, you have that strong school leadership and planning. And then you have the 3 puzzle pieces, the high quality curriculum, which is our TEACS resource, that is our adopted curriculum. You have the positive school culture and effective, well, and supported teachers. So all of those impact your effective instruction. So those are the 5 components. Within those 5, we call them levers. Whoops. There's 13 essential actions. So those 5 have the strong school leadership planning, and the ones in the bold are the ones that we're going to focus on. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to these here. So these are the prioritized levers that we're looking at. The strong school leadership, effective, well-supported teachers, positive school culture, high quality curriculum, and then the effective instruction. So what the campus has done is done a reflective prioritization activity to determine where are we going to focus, where are we going to get the most leverage. And once they have collected all their data and determined what the focus is going to be, what they determined was in order to get the school out of that F accountability rating, they're going to focus on lever 5, effective instruction. And there's 2 components to it. 5.1, objective-driven daily lesson plans with formative assessments and data-driven instruction. So that's the 2 focus areas for the junior high. So from there, they have created a targeted improvement plan. These are some of the resources that TA recommended that we review. So the plan that you received is the plan that the junior high created 2 years ago. And given that we didn't get to test last year, they're carrying that plan on into this year. So we're in the process of collecting the artifacts. As a matter of fact, we just received an email from our contact from TA today requesting an artifact for one of those 2 areas that we prioritized. So we will be meeting to decide which one of those artifacts that we will be submitting to TA next month. So we're excited about that. So going into the plan, I would like to invite Mr. Garcia to come and share a little bit more about the details. So I'm going to go through the different tabs just because he knows it so well. So we did start with the DCSI attestation statement, and I am the DCSI who is overseeing this plan along with Mr. Morales on here as well. And then we have the foundations tab. Is there anything you want to add on this one?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So that just sets the foundation. And then the student tab is the one that was really small on which you received.
Yeah, can't see those numbers.
Right. So if you look at this, what they did is they added their STAR results on the approaches, meets, and masters for each of the content areas. You've got the reading. And it has your grade levels there. And then what they've done is they've added our 2020 baseline. So this was completed at the beginning of this year. So they've added where we're at, and you can already see some improvements. So if you look at the approaches, 62, at the beginning of the year, their baseline showed 63%. For meets, we were at 25%, and at the beginning of the year, they were at 33%. We stayed the same at masters. And then the next one is the math.
How closely aligned is, what was it called? It was called the Teague's gap test on there, because there's increases, but there's also some decreases. How closely aligned is the test that they were given to what the actual testing will be this spring to get us out of our current rating? Is it pretty close?
So we use 2 things. We use Measuring Up Life, which is a assessment creator. It's actually more rigorous than the state estimate with respect to 8th grade social studies and 8th grade science, especially considering the academic vocabulary in there is well above the 8th grade level. And so all the goals that we have are inflated. So if the minimal goal for a student to reach approaches is 70 percentile, our minimum goal for our students for that same category will be 72. That way we have some flexibility with respect to seeing how many students are going to meet that minimal criteria. Everything that we did at the start of the school year was an assessment for all the expectations for the end of the school year. So if students were getting at 60% of the students were getting at approaches at the start of the school year, that was done within the first 2 weeks of school prior to any real instruction taking place for everything for the rest of the school year. Considering that we have some severe academic gaps created in the spring because of COVID-19. So I think we're doing fantastic. We just finished our cycle 1 yesterday. We're still taking some tests for students that were absent today and yesterday. So every single state assessment was done in a 2-day period, and that's 9 state assessments for all 3 grade levels, and we were able to accomplish that this week. So next time we come back in December, you'll have a lot much, You have more pertinent data than just seeing where we're at the start of the school year. You're going to see where we're at right now. And again, the state assessment is the released 2017 STAR assessment that we used this time around. We'll go ahead and in spring, at the end of February, we'll use another released state assessment from Texas. So everything that we build, we use state resources, or we use professional resources from the teacher resource system or Measuring Up Live. So it's not created by the teachers, because we want to make sure that we're eliminating any bias. If I have a preference to teach one thing, I might over-test just that one area and under-test other things that are going to be measured on the state assessment. And then two, we want to make sure that if the standards are up here, what we're testing is up there as well. Because sometimes teachers, and even myself with respect to administration, can misinterpret what the standards are at the state level. So that's why we have a lot of people coming not only from the service center, but from our academic coaches to help us build those assessments. But this has been a 3-year ongoing project.
Starting to hear chatter about not having the STAR test again this year.
I saw that today.
Well, we're not planning for that. We're planning
No,
for that.
no.
I mean, it wouldn't be
I know
good for us.
everybody on
It's
your
been 2 years
campus
now.
wants to do this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So,
Is there any particular content area or subject area that you would like to look at, content or grade level, I'm sorry?
I can go over it for you. So instead of looking at specific data, again, that'll be more beneficial for us next time. One of our biggest areas of concern historically has always been our 7th grade ELAR and our 6th grade math. With respect to 6th grade math, one of the biggest reasons it's such an issue of concern is back in 2014, the state realized that students were not passing high school algebra 1. So they changed math across the state, and they put algebra 1 standards all the way down to 6th grade. So 5th grade math and 6th grade math doesn't correspond with each other anymore. There's a huge jump between the two. But this isn't just negatively impacting students in 6th grade here in Perryton. This is a struggle across the state, because all of a sudden you have 6th graders, 11 years old, dealing with algebra 1 concepts. We have 2 phenomenal teachers, Mrs. Nelson and Mrs. Robinson, and you can see, even though we missed the mark as a campus, we had huge growth and improvements in our 2017-18 school year because of those 2 teachers and how they're having the students rise to the occasion with respect to academic rigor for 6th grade math. So we're doing great there. The other concern that we've had historically has been 7th grade ELAR, specifically because there's a writing component to the assessment, there's a composition piece. This year, we shifted our ELAR department around. So Mrs. Ira, who's part of our campus leadership team, she's also the department chair for our English department, is in 7th grade ELAR. So we're putting our best resources in the areas of need. And that was one of the best things that we were able to do this year by shifting around some of our teachers. So I can tell you, we were talking to some kids at lunch, and I had a lot of kids freaking out that came up to me, Mr. Garcia. Out of 42 questions, I got 24 right. I failed. I did horrible. I said, wait a minute. They've only taught you less than 50% of the standards, and you got better than a 50% on a test that measured the entire school year, and we're barely in November. That's fantastic. So the kids are realizing that where they're at right now is significantly better than we were at 2 years ago. So we've got a lot of growth already, but I want to be able to get you all the numbers so that it's not me misinterpreting any data. I can give it to you in your hand, and then we can talk about it again in December.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
So in cycle 1, we are about to, so that one covers September through November, and it just goes into just the action items that have been planned.
Are we confident that we're 4 or 5 class days away from November the 30th? Are we confident that the action items that we have and the targets that we have set here are, for the most part, going to be met?
Yes.
Good.
All of them.
Good.
So we have the submission for this one on December the 18th, and prior to that, we will have a meeting with TEA to go over the artifact that we submit as well.
Okay.
So then we'll be going into cycle 2, and you'll see data in cycle 2 on the report that we provided to you as well. So the campus has already filled out some information on here. And this, of course, is going to be updated. It's fluid with any of the data that we're receiving. So if there's any updates we need to make, we can do that. And they've done the same for cycle 3, which is March through May, and then cycle 4, June through August. Does not have anything.
Okay.
So that's the targeted improvement plan for the junior high.
Thank you, Dr. Rock. Thank you,
You're
Mr. Garcia.
And
Any
there's one
questions?
thing that you guys take away from this, PEA, when they met with us, they said that the work that Campus Region has done with respect to the target improvement plan was an exemplar example of what should be across the state. So they even asked us if they can use that to show the districts what they need to be doing with respect to intervention. So if the state is telling us that we've got a solid plan, I feel confident that your teachers and your staff are doing exactly what needs to be done to get us across the threshold.
I'm glad you added that, and I need to add something to that because, you know, I was in on the conference call with the state, Dr. Rock, and they did say that the guy who works with us said it was a great plan. You know, the things that happened to you, we had to change where the approaches is no good anymore, basically. You need hit, meets, and masters, so we need to up our game. And hopefully we've done that and we don't have the wrong target. So if you have the wrong target, that's not good. But we've written a great plan. Okay, I mean, he's done an exceptional job at that. The problem comes with implementation. You can have a great plan, so like a lesson plan with a teacher. You can have a great lesson plan, but if you don't go in there and teach it, then it's not any good. So our deal is going to be implementation and monitoring. How do we monitor the things that we said we were going to do? And I think when we do that, then I think we'll see the things change. I hope. That's my goal.
Okay.
And we do have great support from Region 16, Stacy Barnett. She comes in, and all of our staff development days that are in the calendar already, those are already pre-planned. So we don't include the junior high in any of our district staff development because of the prescribed plan that they have with Region 16 as well.
Is the gap on between Dimitri's, Dr. October, the gap on the math between 5th and 6th grade where the state has come back and done that to us, we're adequately taken care of? Because we've been talking in nonstop about curriculum alignment. Are we getting there on that?
Well, the data's going to show us that. So we're really working on our academic instructional coaches are really working on the foundation at the elementary level, because we have a lot of numeracy gaps that the students are being sent to the junior high without the appropriate gaps, and the rigor is increasing to a higher level at the middle school level, and they're not necessarily prepared. So we have focused on not only the numeracy foundational skills, but also the literacy skills, because we're seeing gaps with the writing when they do get to the 7th grade. So we are having a strong focus, especially at intermediate, with some of those, and then at Perryton Kinder and Wright also, we're participating in a numeracy contract with Region 16 so that we can fill in those numeracy gaps that not only us have identified, but Region 16 has also identified. So we're really working really hard on building a stronger foundation at the elementary levels.
And again, she mentioned our coaches. We're talking about our academic coaches. Guys, a lot of the staff didn't think we needed to use those. They needed to be teaching positions rather than coaching positions. But I really support the coaching positions, because she can direct them every day, send them out, make sure they're getting the information they need, and help the teachers. So it's really it's going to be a win-win. We just got to see the results after a year of creating these academic coaches.
Oh, I think this has been going on for so long. I mean, we've got to change something.
Yeah, and so we've done that.
Well, and one of the things you said, James, is one of the things that when I was reading through this, that a lot of the recommendations, section by section by section, talked about teacher buy-in and are changing what they're doing. Are we seeing continued teacher buy-in, that they're saying, gosh, what we were doing maybe wasn't exactly right, we need to try something new, we need to follow some of the coaching? So are we seeing good follow-through with that?
That's a great question. Yes, but keep keep in mind, the brunt of that change took place 4 years ago.
Right.
So most of what we're doing right now is not new or novel to the junior high. It's carrying over. I got to give a lot of credit to Dr. Rock, because she really undersold what she's doing with respect to coming on board as our assistant superintendent. If you really want systemic lasting change, you can't be working at the junior high. Anything we implement at the junior high is going to be effective for short term.
Amen.
If you want long-term lasting change, you have to start from the ground up with a foundation. We have some great teachers and wonderful things that are happening at the primary grade levels, and they are hitting the mark with respect to their academic goals. The problem is those goals don't correspond with goals that transfer over to the junior high. You know, it's the idea that you study 3 years Mandarin, Chinese, and then you're going to go take a test in Russian the very next year. It's entirely different alphabet, right? It's an entirely different part of your throat and your mouth when you go ahead and speech. There's nothing that corresponds. You can't say math is math. And Algebra 1 is not the same thing as what's happening in 5th grade. But those 5th grade teachers are working hard, and they're doing great things, and so we want to celebrate that. But with that in mind, you have to gather all the data to see, okay, if we do have those academic gaps, then what are those, and how do we start filling those in? That's what Dr. Rock is doing right now, and she's really, she's a go-getter. So she's going to help us, but an investment in what she's doing right now, you're not going to see in the next year.
Right.
That's a long-term investment.
And, you know, he's exactly right. That's a long-term investment. We'll see that in 2 to 3 years, 4 years maybe. But our problem is at the junior high, we need to do it now. That's the issue, because we've been there too long and the state's on us. So we do need to do that. And I will say this, at each of our buildings, we have pockets of greatness. You know, I mean, there are some really good teachers at each level. And all we're trying to do is take that greatness and make it a whole grade level. You know, let those teachers help each other and teach each other, especially the ones that are really knocking it, you know, out of the plate, you know. And so that we're not after the pockets anymore. We're wanting the whole building to be great.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Morales, do you have a recommendation?
I recommend that we accept that and approve it.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Perryton Junior High School Targeted Improvement Plan as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
What's your arm?
That's funny.
We did not receive diesel bids.
Yeah, I was going to tell you that Valinda told me that Frank Oil didn't want to give a bid, and that was one of them that was doing it. And then the other one is Equity, which did what I think.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. But here's what I think we need to do right now, and I think it was kind of recommendation by both, is just to buy enough to get us by diesel and gas until December. And then hopefully the prices have gone back down and are better to do that.
So we're not walking to school for December. We can bus, huh?
Right, we can still bus, so we can still bus.
Okay.
They were saying that there was some volatility
Yeah.
currently, that things were working out of the system.
Frank
Yeah.
was saying this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no action on that.
Okay. All right. Last thing on the agenda, discuss dates of next board meeting.
Yeah, get your calendars
We
out.
talked about December 17th isn't convenient unless we go late because of the graduation. December 15th is a Tuesday. That's awful early. I don't know what the basketball schedule looks like.
We plan.
There's a choir concert also that night.
On the 15th?
On the 15th?
Yeah, you're not gonna miss everything.
Junior high choir concert.
Junior high. Does anybody have any junior high choir kids? Okay. That's an option.
Basketball is at night.
You do?
I do.
Or-
No.
I do.
You do, okay. Okay, so we have one. Okay. Boy, the 22nd's getting awful close to Christmas.
Yeah, I won't make 22nd, so.
Yeah, that'd be a horrible time for me. We're covered up at the store 22nd and 23rd.
29th, you're good. Looks, I mean.
29th is not good, Tyler.
We'll be on our Christmas break.
Yes.
Okay, I have a possible suggestion here, and I don't know if this would be good or not, is that on the 17th, we go ahead and start our meeting at 6 and meet, and then break, go do the graduation, and then come back.
Okay. Really quickly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we've done that.
We've done that before. That would be my guess.
We've already been there in the van and come back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we've done that. So back to the 17th, 6 o'clock. Executive session first.
Mm-hmm. We can have it out of the way.
Okay. Finish it up in the van on the way over there.
Go in the van so we can still meet. I hadn't thought about that.
Okay. All right, 17th it is, 6 p.m. on the 17th. Anything else for the good of this meeting? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Pretty good.
Well, 15 guys.